All right, we are live. So, hey everyone, welcome back to this amazing The AI Sisterhood podcast. This is episode number 4, and we have an amazing guest today. So, before I introduce who she is and then let you all know about like what exciting things she's up to, let me quickly rewind for a bit now. This AI Sisterhood podcast exists because of this one number that I recently came across. It's 22%. That's the percentage of AI roles globally that's being held by women in the AI space. At the research level, that still drops to around 12%, and at the executive level, it's less than 14%, which kind of hurt me when I knew about all of these numbers and where women stand in the AI space. And yet, the women I keep meeting who are building in AI are extraordinary. They are helping ship real systems, solving real problems. They're founding companies. They're solving problems that will shape how all of us like get to live, improve quality of our lives. They just aren't always the loudest voices in the room. I'm Arti Rajendran, AI educator, community builder, and your host. I started this podcast because I was tired of the same voices dominating in this AI or any AI conversation that goes out there. And I wanted to sit down with women who are actually in this specific arena, not theorizing about AI, but actually building with it, making impact, leading with it. Every week, I bring to you one of these women. We go deep on how they built it, what broke, what surprised them, and what they would do differently. So there is no hype over here, no jargons, and no gatekeeping, obviously. Just the real story, because when women see themselves in AI, they build differently. They build for more people, and we all win. My guest today is the first ever Chief Data and AI Officer in Minnesota, a Gartner Eye of Innovation winner, an AWS champion, and the proud owner of She Builds global finalist, like the season 2 of She Builds, which I was also part of, which was hosted by Lovable. She won it, which is super cool. And she's also a 2026 Notable Women in STEM, which was like recently awarded to her. And perhaps like most impressively, she completed a solo high rocks race last year. If you don't know what high rocks is, stay tuned because we are going to talk about it. And she's also the Minnesota ambassador for Women in AI, which means she's literally planting seeds for the next generation of women leaders in AI right now in her community. She leads data, analytics, and AI strategy for the University of St. Thomas. And her philosophy is one that I deeply believe in. This role isn't about chasing AI, it's about grounding us in how we move forward together and with purpose, care, and confidence. Everybody, please welcome Jena Zangs onto the stage.
Thank you so much. That was such a wonderful introduction. I really appreciate that. And I'm so excited to be here and talk with you. And I really admire this podcast. I mean, the 22% number you talked about hits home. So thank you for being a leader in this space yourself.
Thank you. Thanks for you know, scheduling your time to join this podcast, Jana. It truly means a lot, and I really hope that everybody listening to this gain such amazing insights from this whole conversation. So thank you once again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So let's begin at the very your origin story, if you will. So how did you get started? We know that you are the first chief AI data and AI officer at St. Thomas University, but where did it all begin? If you can let us in.
Yeah. So I've had a love for computers since I was little, and I've wanted to be a builder since I was little. My dad was his own makeshift kind of engineer, and he would teach me about computers or fixing things, and I just loved that. So throughout my young life, that was where I really fell in love with computers, and they've just been a part. So my very first computer was like this big with the green screen and like the really big keyboard. And so my dad and I would play on that, and I just thought it was so great. And so, I've seen the colorful Macs that have happened. Then when I got towards college, then, the laptops were really coming to be a big thing. And so like, I've seen such evolution with computers and technology, and I didn't even really know what data was at that point. So I went to college, and for my undergrad, I really thought I was going to be a doctor because, again, I had great leadership from my mother too, but there was always this talk of like, you want to find a career that you can be a mom and work at the same time, right? I think other might be able to resonate with that. And so I was looking for something that, was in the STEM field. And so the doctor was it, but then I got to OChem and that really kicked my butt. I'm not gonna lie, I did not do well. And I got anxiety when I was in class, and I was like, okay, this is definitely not the right move. So I pivoted, and I actually my undergrad was in marketing and English, because marketing had a lot of like creative storytelling. It worked with data, and again, I didn't even think about computer science because no one really asked or like said like, hey, would you think of computer science as like a major, right? I was just on the wrong side of the science building, but I know everyone's journey is where they want to go, but looking back, that would have been a nice pivot. And so now anytime I'm talking to women who are in undergraduate majors trying to decide, I always, broaden their horizon or ask about other majors that maybe didn't think of, because I would have loved that to happen to myself. So then I left and was in corporate world for a while. And then at one of my corporate jobs, there was this back room of men who were coding all day, like what you would see in a movie. Like they had Cheeto bags and like Mountain Dew. And I'm like, what are you guys doing back here? So they showed me how to, code and manipulate data and write workflows and automate. And I was like hooked. So then I was back there all the time, and they're teaching me little side things. And I knew I had to level up my game. So I went back to school and I got whatever job I could at St. Thomas, because I love St. Thomas. I want to get my master's. And so my first job was homecoming and reunion planner. I was an event planner. I had nothing to do with data, but I got myself in the door so that I could, pivot my career basically. So I started my master's right away. I still even have my first Java book over there. It's huge, but I love it. And I sat down in class, and I literally have not looked back since. So the next pivotal piece in my career was transitioning to IT. Where there was an opening, and the director at that time had not really met me. We'd been in meetings. We were kind of on like, the same bigger team, but I had not been on their team. So I went and I set up my own informational interview and told them how bad I wanted this job. My voice was shaking. I was so nervous, but I knew this is what I had to try, right? So he gave me a couple tests to try out, some coding and some analytics tests. So I completed those, and then he gave me the job. I mean, it was like, I will never forget how gracious he was to take a chance on me so that I could keep excelling. And I still get to work with him today, which is really amazing. So every couple of years now, I have pushed to evolve the university to bring data science. I've pushed to have advanced analytics. We were doing machine learning before AI was really a big thing. And so now I get to be the first chief data and AI officer at the University of St. Thomas, and in any higher education institution across Minnesota, Wisconsin, like pretty much the Midwest, which is really amazing. And I love that I get to be a woman leading in this space with, like you said, not chasing the hype, but being grounded in care and purpose, which is really our mission at the university too.
That's quite an amazing journey, Jena. I have to admit that I resonate a lot with it, because I myself wanted to become a doctor as well. But due to so many different reasons, not good grades predominantly, I was not able to. But I guess the whole idea of this podcast is to empower women, especially in the non-tech space. So I guess your story of like how you moved from an entirely non-tech background into the chief data and AI officer, like you said, in the Midwest area, that's pretty cool if you think about it. So I guess that's why I'm still having this fan moment. So
You're so wonderful. And honestly, it is my dream job every single day. It was my dream for a while to be the chief data officer, which I was right before I evolved into the AI officer too. But every day it is such my soul's purpose. I can't say it any other way, that I love working with the people. I love just how the data has its own personality that I get to find, and now bringing AI into this piece. It's just, I never want to stop learning. And this is where I can find that environment. So when for those who are thinking about pivoting to tech, or like just that little voice inside that keeps telling you and like talking to you, you need to listen to that and go for it. Life is way too short to wait. And so if you are passionate about it, I encourage to take that leap and really just not fear failure. You got to go for it.
Wonderful. That's an amazing piece of advice right there. Thanks,
Yes.
Jena.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So you have been at the University of St. Thomas for like over a decade, you mentioned, right? That was your
Mm-hmm.
first job, and then you're at the topmost level there right now. So, what does that progression actually feel like from the inside? Like, how is this? What is your day to day, if I may ask?
Yes. So throughout the journey, again, I mentioned every 2 years, I've really pushed for a different position at the university because I just see the opportunity, and I could see there was only opportunity for the university to keep excelling and having this, competitive advantage, I think, in higher ed to bring data science and to help young minds really like excel in the futures they want. So my day-to-day right now is different every day. I'm at a nonprofit. We tend to wear 4 to 5 hats. So again, I oversee all of the infrastructure for cloud, on-prem, helping make decisions for architecture. So I get to wear that hat and really be in the builder. So right now we're building, we have our own internal AWS lakehouse. So I am helping and learning AWS. We're doing governance. So I get that hat. I also oversee our entire Salesforce environment. So I get to wear a lot of blue and, all the cool Salesforce gear that they have. So I love seeing all that go on and just like be this, in this AI role, you are the connector and you are the one who is orchestrating a lot of the efforts that are going on. Plus, I feel like the reason I resonated so much with grounding is because that's what's needed right now. There is just so much pressure and so much anxiety that we're not moving fast enough and I can't keep up and I'm going to be left behind, or there's just fear of like, I don't even know where to start. Right. And so I feel like creating this message that we're in this together and we are grounded in our purpose of where we're going takes that pressure away a bit. So as an AI officer, yes, you have to appease to the leadership and where they want to go. But at the same time, you need to be that rock for your company as you're navigating this storm right now. And I think women are a perfect place to do that because they are so good at balancing empathy and human aspect with technology and learning and do it in a collaborative way instead of maybe a top-down way. So again, every day I'm trying to empower my team as much as possible and then stay on top of what's going on out in the world and then bring that inward in a safe and approachable manner.
Wow, wonderful. Like I see a lot of things that you do, especially for helping women, empowering women, and spotlighting women. One such venture is Women Build AI, where you spotlight women across the world, and I applied for it, and I'm spotlighted as well. So so how did you get that idea? Like why are you like so much focused into helping women? Ideally. So what was your
Yes.
driving force?
Yes. So at the Lovable Sheep Build that I kept seeing. So my partner Shannon and I know we'll talk a little bit about this later, but we worked together and I kept thinking about like we were recording actually live. We recorded the whole thing live as we were building, right? And so I thought about, gosh, I really wish I could see more women build what they're building, right? So the same reason you started this podcast of like, I know there are more women than what they are saying out there that are doing these main things and maybe just don't have the confidence or don't feel like it's good enough. I hear that a lot with women when I'm talking to them. So I started Women Build the Future to showcase the amazing talents that are happening right now. And so again, anyone can join and showcase who they are, what their mission is. And I want to get more women on stage because that's the other thing is that I constantly see similar voices or similar patterns on either whether it's podcasts, whether it's panels, whether it's on stage. And there's a moment that I was sitting in the audience a year ago where I was watching them and I'm like, I can say what they're saying. I know what they're saying, and I probably know more. And I'm sure there are other women who feel the same way and just get nervous to be on stage. So I really pushed myself last year that I got over being nervous and I wanted to be on stage to be evidence that they could do it too. And honestly, almost every time I get off stage, I do have a woman come up and say, thank you for being on stage. Like, I'm just happy to see more women in this space. So that gives me more confidence. And then I encourage them to come with me the next time on stage. And I've even gotten pretty bold. And now when I see conferences that only have men, I actually call or like email the conference and say, do you need women? Because I start pointing them to now Women Build the Future and say, here's speakers for you. What are you looking for? And so if they have specific things, I tap my network. And it has worked actually a couple times where I've gotten women on stage at these, because I just I don't know if the event teams don't know where to look, or if women just aren't always, feeling confident to be on stage. So it's a really big passion project of mine as well.
Awesome. And that's such a cool thing for you to kind of, just email those organizers and then putting those women onto the stage. Yeah, that's, I don't know, that's something unique. I've never heard of it before. I've never heard anybody do that before, but you've just given me an idea to kind of, just go for it. Like, because I guess at the end of the day, all of these events and all of these organizations talk about diversity, inclusion, and so on, but then not everybody act on it. But your this specific action, that's pretty cool, actually.
Yeah,
Thanks for sharing
and I know a lot of women, when I talk to them about what I'm building, they just assume it's kind of like a network or you have to pay some type of membership. But I truly am doing this because it fills my cup. My purpose in this life with data, because that is my soul's purpose too, is to help women in tech, like keep building. If I'm not working with women in tech or kids in education, it doesn't take my time up. So I just love it so much.
That's amazing, Jena. I think we need more people like you empowering women in tech. So yeah, keep doing whatever you're doing right now. That's amazing to hear. Awesome, awesome. So here's a quick random fun fact check for you. So Hyrox racer, weightlifter, and an AI officer. So can you build this connection between all of these things? Like, how does that physical discipline kind of shows up in your professional life?
Yes. So movement feeds my brain, my soul, my body, right? And so every morning I am up weightlifting before my 6-year-old daughter is up. So that's like my time. And I feel like weightlifting, I have this great keynote that talks about lifting through failure, where it connects weightlifting and AI, because I think women are so conditioned to be perfect all the time. And I have had to break myself from that mold as well. I'm the oldest sibling. Things need to work in a certain way for a while. So when you're lifting weights, the purpose is to fail. The purpose is to lift so heavy that you cannot even make the last rep. And so I feel like when you get moving in that sense and you are trying to push towards failure, that applies to other things in life. So in AI right now, you need to fail to learn, right? Everyone is worried to start because they're worried that they're going to mess something up or they're going to break something. But that's the purpose of AI, is you build and you break it and you rebuild it again. And so the idea of lifting and AI having this similar, conditioning of not fearing failure is why I love Tyrox. And last year was what I call my glow up year. I know that's a big thing on Instagram where they say, you're glowing up. Yeah, that was last year. And I saw Hyrox like coming out, which again, what Hyrox is you're doing a total of a 5-mile run. And then within each half mile, there's 8 stations. So you run, then you do like a lifting weight station, and then you run, and then you push a sled down like a mat and everything. And it's pretty intense, but I just kept hearing that voice, like, you could do this. I was like, I'm not a runner, but you could do this. Like, I love lifting, and it just seems like something, again, that I knew I could do, and the voice was there. So I went for it, and I started training. So I would lift, and then I'd go out for a couple mile run, come home, get my daughter ready, and like go for the day and sleep. Sleep is my top priority. So, so I just love it. I love weightlifting, and I love having girls like, do the unexpected, or what, they're told they're not supposed to be able to do. So
that's a cool motto. I'm going to prepare a banner or something and put it right behind me.
Sounds great.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for sharing that, Jena. That's awesome. Yep. And I had this other question where you co-lead this AI research and development at the St. Thomas University for the common good. So what does this common good actually mean when you're like kind of like in the trenches writing an AI strategy, if you will?
Yeah. So A university is really run like a city. So when you think about it, people just think, okay, people are taking classes, but we have people living on campus their lives. They have friends. We have public safety. They're learning. They're also getting internships and jobs. So parents are entrusting their precious child with us. So I always think about the common good is making sure that they are successful, they're mentally and healthy and safe here at the university. So when we're building with AI, we have to have extra layers of that human connection in there. So when I think of a student who is 1:45 in the library, their assignments due at 2 a.m., right? At 1:45 in the morning, and it's due at 2 a.m. Like, how can we best support the student so they are not just like, struggling so bad? And so the common good comes in to be able to develop tools that meet students where they are at any learning journey. And I love that you don't have to learn a certain way anymore. You can learn visually, you can learn by audio, right? You don't have to sit in front of a textbook and, like, for me, nearly fall asleep, but I could listen to something instead. And so I love being able to, in our R&D group, figure out new methodologies to help students learn and then help faculty teach the way they love to teach as well, and like really expand. I had a business faculty tell me, like, they are living their best life right now. They got agents they're trying out, they're just, it's a builder's playground right now. And I love that we can build that into our curriculum. We can build that into our operational, and everything I do with our team has to have a purpose behind it. We aren't just building AI to just say, oh my gosh, we have this tool. It's really to make sure that it's either research and innovation, if it's helping the next AI workforce, or if it's something that's more productivity for strengthening that human capability across our university. So I love common good as our base too.
That's amazing, Jana. I think this connects to what you built during Shebel's, the whole hackathon that we had. So, Authentic Learning Studio, which was essentially for to supporting educators and students, especially with disabilities. So, can you tell us about where the project is right now and where it is headed towards?
Yeah, so it was a crazy ride on Sheba. I mean, did you feel that sense of community when you were doing that throughout what felt like a week, but it was like 48 hours, you felt that way too? Yeah. So it was so much fun. I just, anyone who can do some type of hackathon, even with just a partner, or find a team to build something with, I thought was so great. So we built at that time, it was called Let's Get Real was kind of our end game. And now we have been evolving, and I mentioned my teammate Shannon and I are now officially running what's called Real Path Learning. So we've been evolving it so that individuals can find their path as they're learning. And the idea is that a teacher can take one lesson plan, put it into our tool, and it outputs with it meets every student where they are. So the lesson plan adjusts to how students learn. So for students with disabilities or have a individual education plan is what we call them, it adheres to all of that. So if they're visual, if they're learner, an audio learner, it meets them, and the teacher doesn't have to sit there and try and create varieties for all of the students. So they can use that across lessons throughout the entire year and save hours of our teachers' time, which I know helps the student, it helps the teacher. And so now we are being tested out and used in schools across Minnesota here, which we love. And we're trying to expand across the country or more, just because we really believe in the mission of education and helping students with disabilities, plus different languages too. Our lesson plans actually come out in English or any other language that you select. So parents can be more engaged if their household is not English language first. So there's so much opportunity. And this is why I love She Builds, because you come up with, women bring other ideas that are not as common in the market, right? Everyone is a builder. So if you have that idea with that little voice, you could build it right now. With, in 48 hours, you could have your test up and running with, a mock MVP and things like that. So how was your experience with She Builds? What was your favorite part?
Oh, that was such a crazy ride. And at the end of it, I made this amazing, awesome connections. Like you mentioned, like that was a huge community that we had, and we still have. So I'm still in touch with a few of them who I've got introduced during that specific hackathon. But then from the whole building perspective, that was like it happened right after I quit my full-time job to become a full-time entrepreneur. And I guess that was the cool opportunity, right time, right moment, and I just got in. So it helped me to understand where I want to head toward, what kind of problems I want to solve. So that 48 hours, and a couple of days before that and a couple of days after that, it was it was full of energy. I barely slept, and
Yes.
and you mentioned you live streamed it, right? Like, so I popped in like every now and then just to see that, okay, these people are building. So it felt like I had company, you know, like,
Hmm.
like when you're in school or college, when you know that your friends are also studying late in the night, and that really
Yes.
helped. Your live streaming really helped. So it
Oh,
was
good.
overall such an exhilarating experience, if you will. I really loved it. If there is a season 3 of the She-Builds, I'm so in.
Yes, yes. I think they did the International Women's Day. That was like a free day to build all day, which I was like, oh my God, I was up till 11:59 sending in my prompts, and then a prompt hit at midnight, and then I got charged, and I was like, dang it. But I know they had like 500 million lines of code happening that day. I just, yeah, I loved the whole initiative and feeling that energy around the world with Lovable. That was so great.
Yep.
Yep.
I actually kind of like had a pre-planned set of prompts that I wanted to do, kind of things that I wanted to build in that 24 hours span of time.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I was also like, super pumped about the International Women's Day, and really like what Lovable is doing in this space, especially for women. I think that's, I don't think any other companies out there in this AI space are doing what Lovable
No,
is doing. It's just
no.
awesome.
Not at the grand scale for sure. So we need more of that. So thank you to Elena and Whitney for leading us in that charge.
Yes,
Yes.
yes. All right. Jena, you mentioned that you're currently obsessed with MCP servers and data loss prevention. Both are very key things for like various different reasons. MCP servers are like the hype right now, and data
Yeah.
loss prevention, that's it's like the most crucial thing right now with AI, with a lot of people using AI. So for anybody listening to this right now, can you kind of like give your insights into how do you kind of like use MCP servers in your day to day, and also what is your point of view and what are your best practices for like data loss prevention?
Mm. Yes. So we've been starting to dabble with MPC servers more at the university, and we are just kicking off. We just on Friday, yesterday, we're talking about how we can kick off this pilot project we're going to do for an internal AI campus-wide tool, which will incorporate LLMs, have our data layer really integrated, so it's this very, very secure place. But it will use those MPC servers and agent orchestration to really, build out the next infrastructure for us, which I'm starting to see schools ask, but really there are a lot of higher ed schools are further back because they just can't get the data running and like connected. Again, thinking of a city, we have like 300 tools or more at the university. So to try and connect all that data is very difficult. So that's where a big piece of the servers will come in for us and those agents to be able to capture information that we need across the way. And then I think what will be really beneficial for us is that my goal is that the students will have their own individual type of agent. So like from the moment that they're accepted or even apply at the university, you get like a Tommy agent or some, you can name it whatever you want. We're the St. Thomas Tommy. So that collaborates, but that bot can be with them the entire time, right? So when we think of these servers being able to access 10,000 different individual agents for these individuals, I think that is something that we're just really trying to dabble with. And so then from the data prevention loss, this is where I think governance can be automated the most, because right now we're trying to expect a lot of users to understand what's safe and not safe to put in. I see companies who are just say don't do anything, and then I have some that aren't even monitoring what's happening with their employees and what data is going into public LLMs. So this data loss prevention there are tools emerging that allow you to actually stop your individual and be like, hey, this is this sensitive data, this is yellow data, or this is red data. And when we're talking about categories of sensitivity, So the idea that you don't have to expect those users to understand what those categories are when they're working with data, but just really guide them. Then that's where those individuals are gonna learn, instead of just telling them like, oh, don't use, social security number. I hope you're not doing that anyway. But like, it's just really adding the layer for the company as well as the individual, teaching and learning about what data they can use. So I love that we are pressing forward and automating governance that no one wants to work with. I love governance, but I know that is not what people's top of mind is. They want the fun and the innovation and the building.
That's true, and it's really great that you are like kind of like bringing it in right from the beginning. Like the future workforce will know what AI governance is and what to do and what not to do with AI. And while designing systems, they would have like governance right into the stack, thanks to you, I guess.
Yeah.
So that's a pretty cool thing, Jena. And speaking of AI governance, and what I've been hearing about you is that you kind of like share too much, direct truth when it's not necessary. This is something that you mentioned. So can you tell us like more about that moment? Like, has it ever brought you into kind of a pickle where how do you balance honesty and trust building?
Oh, yes. So here in Minnesota, we are not I'm a very direct person, and I like to just be transparent all the time. Not saying that people are not, but there's a lot of Minnesota nice. We are very chummy. And like, so when we're talking about business, everyone wants to get along. And sometimes I am a little bit more, here's where we're going. Here's what I think, and keep directing that way, which I do think has helped our teams move forward. But when I am talking about how we're using data, or if I'm pushing a little bit more on topics that sometimes I think about how I can use data, and then I have great other ears that will come in and like, did you think about it this way? So for students, again, if you're thinking about door swipes, right? Everyone has their access cards. Like, is that something we want students to know that we are using, to track if their safety, to track where if they're last known, that's where I'm coming at. But then I have great people who think otherwise, and bring that governance to life. Like you have to have more viewpoints than one person making all these decisions, because there are so many factors to the data that you're using and the privacy. So I really like to be as transparent as possible. And we have a data catalog that shows where all of it's used. But again, each data piece is connected to a human, right? Human create the data. Now agents, I know, will, and that will be another frontier, but really it still connects to a human at some point in time. And so making sure that I call it the ick factor. If you don't feel like you can tell someone to their face that you are using their data this way, like it feels really nerve-wracking to you, you shouldn't be using your data behind the scenes that way either. So it's kind of this nice gut check, I think, for your governance team as they're evaluating how they use AI and the data within it too.
That's awesome. Yeah, thanks for sharing. And this again like brings me to this question as like, how does it feel to be, I know that you're working full time with the University of St. Thomas, but then you are also like part time founder who builds cool products, and then you are a woman founder. So how does it? I mean, has it progressed? Like I know that women as founders, especially like solo founders in the field, have a lot of troubles, securing venture capitalists. There is a lot of bias. So how has being a woman founder treated you in this specific time period?
Oh, I love this question. Thank you for that, because it has been an adventure. And this is the first time I've ever built something from the ground up this way, hence being at the university for so long. And I think it's really having the confidence to have that voice be heard. It's not even just confidence. It's really having the grit and the gumption to go after and make your voice be heard. So there are times where I am consistently underestimated when we're talking about this, or what the value will be of our company. And so when I'm talking with individuals, they just assume I'm really early in my career. We don't quite know what we're talking about, when in all reality, we're building all of these things. So there's definitely a gap. And a lot of the time I kind of call them out now a bit more when that does happen. It does get a little, dicey, but I do think it's my responsibility to help individuals who might not realize that what they're saying and how that could affect other women. And so I'm hoping that changes how they progress going forward. we have been working to secure funding as well, and are, again, the same type of thing at where the pitch doesn't. We're just learning on the fly with different types of pitches, what works, what doesn't. How much time do you spend getting to meet someone? So it's been a wild adventure, especially when you have like an hour or two at night. That's it. You decide between sleep and then hustling is what I like to call hustle time. But when you're trying to balance everything, I've really cut out, Netflix. I cut out scrolling, all of that, because that's not going to serve you in the long run. And I'd rather be building and putting my time towards something that that is more worthwhile for me. So I think that's another area when they say they don't have time. You probably watched a whole Netflix series, which is like 20 hours of your time, and you could have built a product in that time instead.
Exactly. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that, Jena. And let's say Jena from 10 or 20 years ago, it's you're talking to a younger self. So what advice would you give to that young Jena who's just starting out? Okay, that with all of the insights and all of the knowledge that you have today. So if you have to say something to your older self, what would that be?
Mm-hmm. Yes, I would find a mentor or someone to watch that is already evidence that's happening, right? And then I would take what they're doing with a grain of salt, because everyone's on their own path and everyone has different experiences. And so for a really long time, I was told that I had to pick between being a technical builder or being in a leadership role. And I kind of now refuse to have to pick one of those two, right? And they were amazing mentors, all of them, who told me that's kind of the two paths. And so now I just think being able to listen to that inner voice and really just find that alignment, that is what is don't worry about the money. The money will come. I'm telling you, like when you are in that passion, that's when the universe is delivering and opening up new things for you. And that's what people are going to see, your energy and where you're going. And so when you are finding that great feeling, that is where you need to keep going. So if I was back, I would tell myself to follow that computer feeling a lot earlier, right? And to listen to myself and believe in myself more. And it's just, us as women are so challenged with so many things and keeping things together and being perfect and being on this path and, deciding to have a family or not, or what that looks like. It's just, there's a whole different complexity that I know that men don't always have to deal with. And so I think just knowing that there isn't a single path you have to go down is what I would tell myself.
Awesome. I think that's just a beautiful advice for all those women who are listening to this right now, who are in their early stage. So that's an amazing piece of advice right there. Thanks, Jena.
Yeah.
And also, you are the Minnesota ambassador for Women in AI. So what does that ecosystem for women in AI look like in Minnesota right now? So, and does it still need some kind of a change? Where is it heading towards?
Yes. So we are a relatively new chapter so there's the Global Minnesota Women in AI, which I'm the ambassador for. And I'm working on a couple of events coming up here to really bridge the gap between students who are finishing or trying to decide if they want to go into a STEM field or AI or data, and then the early industry, because that is where most of the women leave, is after the first few years, either whether it's for if they decide to have a family, they don't like the culture of the individual, like the intimidation of being the only woman on a team trying to have a voice when you are early in your career is super difficult. And I've been there. Oh my gosh. I've met more women in the ladies' room, like at conferences, because it's more comfortable in there than out in the networking where there's just men. It's just very intimidating as a young 20-year-old to try and interject yourself into these situations. And so I think being the bridge, and that's why I wanted to be the ambassador, was to support that middle pipeline so that we could have more women longer term and stick with it and not leave because of that uncomfortability and the lack of representation and visibility. So more to come for that, I think, from the Minnesota chapter. But my goodness, they just had the biggest hackathon ever in Africa this week, the Women in AI. So it is a total global network that is so inspiring to, I would encourage anyone to join. That we have a Slack channel where they're all volunteer based. We want to have more culture and more viewpoints and more people on stage around the world talking about AI too.
That's amazing, Gemma. And I think, like, I've been seeing a lot of women communities popping up, especially like in the past 1 or 2 years. I'm not sure, but then this kind of like, it brings me this joy because, like you said, I during my initial career was in a all men team, so my voice was not heard. So I
Mhm.
went through all of those things. So I think with all of these communities that's like popping up every day, and then the number of communities that you kind of build and you are part of, and you own some of these communities, I think these are very essential in kind of spotlighting women, as well as like letting them know that they can get out there and do whatever they want. The whole opportunities are
Yes. Yeah, and I feel like none of us are competing against each other, right? Like there could be a million of them that pop up. As long as someone feels connected to one of them, great. The more the merrier. Like I love that every time someone posts I see on LinkedIn, then there's, other groups that are cheering each other on, right? Because we all have the same mission underlining, but each just have a different piece of the role throughout the globe. And I love that too. And I was going to ask you what a couple of your favorite groups or places that you'd like to connect with are as well.
right. So I am part of a couple of communities as well. There is one community called Solopreneurs Club. So
Cool.
it's a Discord server where we meet every Thursday and share all of our stories. There are like new people who kind of join in every week, and that's the whole thing that's going on over there. It's like a support system, especially for
Mhm.
solopreneurs. And then there is this one other community run by a person called Pauline. So it's on Slack. It's called the Other Room. There it's all about like women supporting other women. So it's like entirely women centric community. So each month we set up like accountability tasks and then follow up on it. Like we are accountable for one another. We set up goals for the month, and then towards the end of the month we meet and then check up on each other. Like, where are you with your goals? What
That's
struggle
so
did you?
awesome.
Yeah. I can share all of those communities with you as well. So, you can get in touch. And there is this recent community by Candice, which was like, she has this amazing, vision to kind of bring more women speakers, like similar to how you are.
Mhm.
So she also like built this whole platform where it spotlights around 1,000 plus women, I guess. So across the world. Um, so that's one other community that I'm part of, which is really
Awesome.
great. Yeah.
I love the one where you're keeping each other accountable too, not in a bad way, just like, so if those women are on their own team, they have someone else that feels like, okay, I'm working on things and I'm with them, right? I just think that's a different model because I know it's hard. There are only so many mentors. So when you can find the collaboration in a different way, that's awesome. I haven't thought about it that way for some of the women groups that I've been part of. So that's great.
Uh, yeah. It's been great because we get to hear about others' problems as well, which we face as
Mhm.
well. So it
Yeah.
doesn't feel like too alone, especially for someone who's like at home, like 24/7, building alone. So
Yes.
yeah,
Yes. Oh, great. Just great.
thanks, Jenna. Yeah. So anybody who's like on this podcast, I ask them this question. There are
Yeah.
like enormous, like bajillion AI tools out there. So what are your go-to AI tools? Like, if you can explain, let's say you're doing some kind of a research for your task that you want to do, and then actually do the task. So what tools do you use for this specific workflow?
Yes. So my two go-tos are Claude and ChatGPT right now. And I do a lot of building on the back end. So our team is just starting to learn Kiro, which is an AWS more uh, top layer to help do more orchestration for those MPC servers. But really, I am doing a lot of deep research. I have not. I've dabbled a little bit in OpenClaw, but I'll be honest, I'm trying to navigate that for our own university. So when you think of like, yes, I'm going to go out and build all these things, I'm the one on the other side trying to figure out like, oh my gosh, how do I keep our our business safe with like agents running among all over the place? And so I've been really coming at it from a different lens, but yes, so I do a lot of the deep research. I love Cloud Code and getting up my MVPs, and what we've been using it for more too is when we're trying to do what I call the chicken and the egg between the user, what their requirements are, and what the output actually is. We're using a lot of Cloud Code to like see, is this what you're thinking about? Is this the functionality you want? Instead of like doing all this development work and then them figuring out, oh, I didn't really like that, right? So it's getting our development pipeline a lot faster without so much resources, which has been really fun. But I love strategizing with chat. It's always too nice to me, which I don't mind. Like I'm always like, oh, thanks for being my cheerleader. And then I'll say, can you be more direct with me? What about this? But I never let it write. I just don't want to lose my voice. So I always push back on it, or I take it out of there and I'm fixing things that I want to just after it summarize things. So I really don't, I think authenticity is so valuable right now in this market, and everything I'm writing is me, not just ChatGPT putting it out or some agent or, so I think that's valuable too.
That's cool. That's a cool stack that you have out there. All right, awesome. So, and you did mention that you predominantly use Kiro, which is an AWS platform for orchestrating stuff, and you are an AWS champion yourself, and also recognized by Gartner, which I think like too many feathers on your cap, if you can tell you. So, but according to you, like, what's this one specific thing that the industry gets wrong about AI? Like, they get it so wrong that you wish they stopped doing this.
I wish that they would. I wish. Okay, I got to think about how to say this. The foundation of data has been around for decades. And now it feels like we're trying to reinvent the wheel with AI. So when we're talking about governance, yeah, data governance is the absolute, like, the foundation is already there, but now I'm seeing people try to create all these new frameworks, which I'm like, why? You already, the chief data officers that are out there are your best chief AI officers, because the realities are the same. No one has wanted to talk about data for 10 years. And now here we are, that data is the most important thing. And so what I wish is that there would be more of a connection between that this has already happened, or things are already out there from the data point of view that can be applied directly to AI. It's not like you're restarting the wheel. It bugs me a lot that there isn't so much talk about the collaboration between the two in that technical side. And then I think the other thing, I just gave a presentation on this week, is that I'm really tired of hearing roles being eliminated and not talking about roles being redefined in corporations, right? With AI, I think we need to have this new mindset around what AI ready means. And instead, people are saying, well, we can just be more efficient and, these positions don't apply anymore. But why aren't we reinvesting in those humans to upskill them and grow your business even further? So that's the other thing I wish I would stop seeing so much as well. But I know that the economy is going up and down. So those two things.
Awesome, Janelle. Thanks for sharing that. And I guess we have like only around 15 minutes left before we end this podcast. So this is a pretty exciting segment that we are in right now, which is called Lightning Round. Okay, so I'll ask you a quick couple of questions, easy questions, no-brainer questions. Yeah. So, let's get started. So the one tool or one AI app that you couldn't work without?
ChatGPT right now.
Awesome. So one book, podcast, or resource every woman in AI must consume?
Oh, Unmasking AI. That's a book.
Okay. Oh,
yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Nice. Okay. So this, I'm kidding right now. So, but Hierarchs or data governance, which is harder?
Oh, data governance for sure. Okay. Yes. And because there's this great set, it's called Data Literacy book. It's about data literacy, and it's like 8% of people only want to talk about data. Like that means 92% of people would rather do their taxes than talk about data. They would rather do anything. So the idea of data governance for people is like the last thing they want to talk about. Way harder than an hour and a half type of workout. So great question. Love that.
Awesome. Cool. So what's the one thing that you're working on right now that you can't wait to tell the world about?
Yes, I can't talk about it at the university, but this internal AI tool that we are building, I think will be a big game changer for us. And then the second thing that I can talk a little bit more about is we are building out within our central, because we're so advanced in the centralization of our data, we're building out a synthetic data lake basically for campus to be able to vibe code on, to build their own models. So our entire campus and students and faculty will have a place that they can safely, solve real world problems for the university, something that no other university is doing right now. And I just can't wait that our students will be able to build real things and go out and show their portfolio when they're applying for jobs. So I'm super excited about that part.
Wow, that's amazing. I think that's how you kind of like empower students and also implement the whole governance part of it. Building your
Right.
own in-house tool so that you have more control over it, and the data doesn't get lost. So yeah,
Yes.
pretty cool thing. Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah.
So yeah, before we wind down, do you have any solid piece of advice? You have already like shared a couple of like cool insights and cool advice to the women listening to this. But then imagine a woman like who is currently working or in college, like about to enter the workforce, who is like very overwhelmed with where AI is heading, hearing about all of the layoffs that's happening. So wondering like what the future holds for her. So what advice or what is the one empowering statement that you would give to this specific woman?
Okay, so for a woman coming out of school or in school right now, be the definition of an AI ready, which is someone who pushes the boundaries of your workflow. Don't just take a task and complete it. Take the task, ask how I can automate it, ask how I can document it more automatically, and redefine the workflow to make it better for your boss. Everything you're doing should not be going to your boss asking for, how do I solve this? You should be coming with the solution. And that is what has gotten me to move. So again, think of how you are the problem solver, not necessarily trying to get advice on how to solve the problem. Your boss will have much more respect for you. Your voice will be heard, and you'll be at the table more when you come to things with solutions. So that would be for someone who's in their early career. And later in their career, if you're thinking about wanting to be a chief AI officer, if there is no one on your team doing AI right now, that is your moment to just start showcasing. Like, say, I want to present to the team. Take those risks and push yourself into there, and then ask for what you want. Again, there is only opportunity for you right now. And if you, most of the women listening to, all of the women listening to this are already doing the work. It's just you have to showcase that to the people who matter at the head of the table, and get yourself at that table so you get noticed. So again, ask for what you want.
Wow. I got like little goosebumps right now.
Oh,
so
good. That's awesome.
I'm pretty sure that everybody listening to this right now would be so empowered, and a lot of cool insights has come out of this conversation. I've learned a lot from you, and I'm super happy that you are building in this space that where women get empowered, women get spotlighted, especially where you kind of email event organizers and ask to kind of push women speakers onto a panel to the men. That is all cool stuff. Jena, thank you so much for doing this in this AI space, especially for women.
Yeah, thank you for hosting that talk and bringing more women together and being a shining light yourself. So I love that we're rising together. I say a lot, so thank you.
Thank you so much, Jena. Do you have any other questions for me, or like in general?
Yeah. Do you think that are you seeing? How do you think women can continue to break into this, kind of tech cycle too? I know you kind of asked me that question earlier, but I'm very interested in your insight on the advice you would give, or how you think women can keep building into an AI space.
Right. I guess, the problem with, according to a lot of statistics that I've been going through lately, there are like many women out there who are in the workforce, or like who are in school right now. So there is this fear that they would be using AI would eventually wrong them. They'd make mistakes which are irreversible. And I've seen this particular statistic that most women out there are, will not use AI at all because they have this fear of like, getting it wrong. So I think that has to change, because I mean, we all make mistakes with or without AI, right? So gather, it's not even the courage, it's like, it's okay to make mistakes, it's okay to shut down that production server during cpu hours. So everybody has done that. It's irrespective of gender, everybody has done it. So I guess like more women would take that leap and take that risk out there, and keep building. There are so many tools. Like if you take like 2 years ago to where we are right now, there are many tools for which you need not even pay huge sums of money to get access to, and immediately start building. So it's that accessible where we are right now. So yeah, I guess that's how women can help each other. uh, like you said, we are not competing with others. In the men's
Mhm.
world, it's all about competition. So it's like,
Yes.
I need to get that promotion, I need to get that increment. It's not like that with us women, right? So
Yeah.
we would go way above and beyond to help another woman rise and shine.
Mhm.
So I think that is the unique selling point for us, all of us, like all together as women, which
Yes.
is our biggest strength, if you will.
Yes. Absolutely. Unity all the way.
Mhm. Yes.
Oh, thank you for sharing your perspective on that too. I appreciate that, and it resonates very much with me.
Thanks, Jana. Thank you so much for your time. And I know it's a Saturday morning with you, and you've already done around like 10,000 steps you mentioned.
Yes, it's early morning with my 6-year old, so we were outside in a nice balmy 32 degrees here in Minnesota. So yes, a little chilly today.
Awesome, awesome,
Yeah,
awesome. Yeah, I'm so glad that I reached out to you and you agreed to spend
yeah,
this time
me too.
with me in this podcast. Thank you so much, and like huge kudos to whatever you're building in the women's space, and also like the learning product that you're building, right?
Thank
So
you.
I'm sure that many schools would benefit out of it if it's like launched, and then if more users sign up to it. So
Yep.
yes,
Great.
awesome. Thank you so much for your time, Jenna. And for anybody who's listening to this live right now, and for those of you who are going to be watching it later, so this is Jena Zangs. I'll leave her LinkedIn profile in the description. You can connect with her. She's actively growing the women in AI community in Minnesota, and to be frank, like globally. And if you are a woman doing incredible things in AI, you know where to find her. The AI Sisterhood podcast, it will, you know, eventually continue every other week spotlighting women. So until next time, stay curious and stay bold.